Why do you need adversity to be great? Say hello to my wife. I'm having what's known as a wardrobe malfunction. She is cutting my hair. This has been a dream of hers.
You've endeared me to your millions of viewers.
To humiliate me on the air.
I always cry even though it isn't allowed. So proud.
You make me want to be a better streamer.
A better streamer.
No, definitely not that. Do you need adversity to be great?
Your skill is you tee up your guests and you make them look, so good.
Yeah. Oh, such a good question. Gets me all fired up, man. Such a good interviewer. I'm ready to go. Jump through the screen. But no, so true.
They can't see I'm dancing by myself.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I am coming to you live from the island of Misfit toys. I hope you're well. It is March 15th, which, if memory serves, is the Ides of March. I'm not sure exactly what that means, so I can't remember what the Ides of March is. I think it has something to do with Julius Caesar, but I could be completely wrong. So I'm sure some of you watching will tell me exactly what the Ides of March is, was, will be, who knows. But it's mid-March already, which means it is almost the end of the first quarter already in 2021. Mind is blowing. Silver Fox Talks says, yay, and I'm here to support. Well, I'm glad you are here, Silver Fox Talks. Tom Morris is here. He's in the car with cats at the vet listening. It was the date that Caesar was assassinated, or we're talking about the salad or the emperor. I'm not really sure. I'm just kidding. Steve Garfield said a reminder. I hope that means he's here. Stephen Rubin, Stephen, get off Facebook and come back to YouTube. I am doing this live on Facebook again, but it's an experiment. Get off Facebook. If you are on Facebook, please come to YouTube. I want to build community. I want to build engagement on YouTube. Get off Facebook now. Otherwise, I'm coming for you. I know where you live, kind of, more or less. Anyway, let's get on with the show. It is Fat Blogging Time, 180.9. So slightly up, basically maintained. I have done over 30 days now of, on average, 20-hour fasts for 30 days consecutively, drinking only water and black coffee. And, I am awake, I am alert, I am engaged, I am energized, I'm motivated. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, that has been my life. Mr. Bob Farnham is here, and he says, I came from Facebook. I appreciate it. Come and hang out with us on the YouTube, because YouTube is the home of video and video creators, and that is where I am making my home. It's also where my guest today is making his home, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Just a little bit of an update on crypto and the JAFFE coin. Yeah, what I wanted to just tell you here, it's kind of interesting, is there is a lot of volatility in cryptocurrency. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you didn't know already. And so what I found is that by kind of pricing, whether it's merch, whether it's experiences, whether it's shout outs in terms of coin, that's not a good way to go. So here's already my first learning, because sometimes I might overprice, I might underprice. I'm happy to underprice. I'm not happy to overprice. So I kind of came up with these dollar values, right? $10 gives you a supersized shout out where I talk about you, your business, give you a plug, put on a URL, and whatever you want. It's essentially a live read. I think that's pretty good at $10. A signed copy of my book, $35. It's basically the cost, the retail price of the book, plus shipping. And then the idea of $125, negotiable, I suppose, buys you a 10-minute interview where I get to basically interview you, you know, and you can use the video on your reel as part of your business development, whatever the case may be. Maybe we do it live, maybe we do it privately. So just experimenting with different ways to build the JAFFE economy. And then what I am doing right now is I'm basically saying, if you'd like 30 minutes with me to use however you want to, we can hang out, we can drink, we can eat, I can coach, we can brainstorm. That's $40. Yeah, so those are different ways that you can get involved. But enough about me. Let's focus on Michael Padurano, the connected consultant. Michael has an amazing story. He is an amazing man. He has amazing friends. And we're going to talk about him and his personal journey shortly. Tomorrow, Sharon Vindereen is in. Sandra D. Robinson, take 2. She had to cancel, and then she kind of uncanceled, but I'd already replaced her. So hopefully all goes well this week. And then Daniel Gutierrez, Inspired Leadership, will bring us home. And then finally, a community episode. I'm looking to confirm one more guest, but I can tell you you're going to enjoy it. Today is True Confessions Day. So today is like a confessional day. What are you confessing? Well, you know, talk to me. Tell me exactly what you like. It's just us, right? It's just us. We're on an island. No one can see us. No one can hear us. What do you want to confess? You know, just here's my shoulder for you. Let's hear what you feel you need to fess up. What's bearing down on you? What's giving you a heavy heart? Or maybe it's a different kind of confessional. Maybe the confessional is just confessing your passion, or confessing your love, or confessing, what you've always wanted to do, your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations. Whatever it is, I hope you have an amazing True Confessions Day. It's all good. It's all good. Happy birthday to Mark Leviton, Haley Rushing, Anton Scher, B.L. Oakman, Eric Rice. Let's see who else. Lidor Osmo, Paul Rothkopf. Hope you are well. Anat Talmud, my cousin. Harold Kravitz, H. What a wonderful, wonderful guy. I worked with him back in the day. Melanie Notkin, the savvy auntie, fabulous at 52. You are an amazing person. Who else is out there on LinkedIn? We've got Cody James. We've got Fabian Dominguez. We've just got Alina. We've got Matt Sternberg, Jason Lobel, Surendra Singh, Mary Cousin. Happy birthday, one and all. Have a great day. Well, now we're going to get into our seated soliloquy, and aptly spoken, because this is going to be a little bit of a common theme. We are talking about the island of Misfits, and something that is, to be honest with you, it's very close to my heart. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the squares, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. That was said by actually Rob Siltonen, who is the copywriter at TBWA Shy Day. And of course, you recognize that from the wonderful Apple commercial. My guest today has an inner circle I call FOM, Friends of Michael. In fact, he affectionately refers to them as misfits. So maybe I should say MOM, Misfits of Michael. Mom. I've used a similar way to refer to our incredible regulars on our Zoom and sometimes Clubhouse after show. A motley crew of sorts. Urban Dictionary refers to a motley crew as an odd and often mismatched assortment of people, a group of friends or teammates who don't seem like they'd work well together, but somehow they do. We have an eclectic mix of personalities, backgrounds, and perspectives. There's the talkative philosopher, the grumpy but not really conservative, the sales lady, the founder, the recovering douchebag, the mysterious mother-in-law, the eco-friendly green liberal, the video blogger OG, the sensitive soul, the techie, and many more. Celebrating our differences is ultimately what brings us together. Put differently, our commonality is uncommonality. Put even more differently, opposites attract, but the bridge that connects or the bonds that bind are neither ambiguous nor disconnected. Humanity, humility, generosity, connection, reciprocity, love, kindness, spirit, passion. At our core, we are all of these things. They are our life force, and yet life tends to always get in the way when we forget, relegate, or neglect our uniqueness, self-worth, and particular gifts we and only we bring to this world. That which makes us stand out is what inevitably enables us to fit in. David Rindell might call it exploiting weakness. I just call it being human. And with it, learning to accept and even embrace our quirks, esotericisms, idiosyncrasies, and eccentricities. I am proud to be a misfit. I am fiercely proud to be the round peg in the square hole. It turns out I'm not alone. And so I choose to spend my time with fellow misfits. And by doing so, a funny thing happens. We're no longer different at all, but instead all part of the same accepting, inclusive, and welcoming phenomenon known as community. Well, now it's time to bring in another misfit. He didn't send me a long bio, so I'm not even going to bio him. I'm just going to bring him onto the show and let him introduce himself. Michael Padurano, the Connected Consultant. Welcome to Corona TV. And I will let you take yourself off mute first.
Yeah, I go on mute naturally just because you never know when I'm coughing or laughing or whatever. I might cursing at somebody, right? You just never know. So I like to sit in the background on mute. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. Our conversation was amazing when you were on You're Never Alone series, right? So before I introduce myself, I've been helping people build podcasts, live stream shows for a while. I've helped them build them from the ground up, helped them brand it, helped them get that out there, helped them build a list of potential guests, help them get their message succinct, help them get their, really fulfill their life's purpose, right? By inspiring others through living the example. What I decided to do was over the holidays, I decided to have a You Are Not Alone series because during this time, everybody is alone in some way or another, right? And my circumstance is a little bit more extreme than most. I'm alone. And I'll get into that in a few minutes. But when I was doing this series, Joe reached out to me and said, I really want to talk to you. I want to be on it, right? And we've been connected for a while. Never really communicated. And then from that point, he reached out, I had him on, and we really had an amazing conversation and really hit it off. It was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. We went back and forth. It was a great flow. We talked about many topics, many. And you're right. Being a misfit is the best thing in the world that you could ever be, right? It's fully embracing who you are, embracing your uniqueness, embracing your gifts to the world, and being the best person that you can be. It is a truly beautiful experience to fully embrace yourself and allow yourself just to be you. With that being said, tilt my camera down. Okay. Yeah. Is that better? Now you get
by the way, that's Steve Garfield. We have he's the OG video blogger.
And that's awesome because now we have the shoulder view a little bit, and it's not just my head, so we're good.
I agree. Let's give you a different camera angle as well.
Perfect. I'm not much worried about appearances. I'm not really worried about quality of viewing when I normally do shows. I do tons of shows. And I can go into that in a few minutes. I was adopted at birth. I was abused as a child. I started drinking at 9, doing hardcore drugs at 12. Went from being the child that they said was delayed to develop in kindergarten to 5th grade being in gifted, 6th grade honors, 7th grade called a retard by teachers in the school. And, you know, from that point forward, it was just a very choppy childhood in every way possible. Played sports, did a whole bunch of different things. Always was a perennial underachiever, was always looking for the negative attention because I found it easier to go that route in life. And maybe that's better too. It just became a situation for me where I never wanted to have to achieve anything because I always felt like I would let myself down. I had no self-worth. I had no self-love. I had none of that stuff, right? Like I didn't think I had a value. And I really went on a death wish. I mean, I had this death mission. I've been clinically dead numerous times between ODs, drownings, car accidents, many things in my life. Near-death experiences, every single one of them. I'm an extremely connected / spiritual person. That's where the connected consulting comes from. And I'm always connecting people intuitively based to a network of people that can help facilitate what their dreams are. That's a little bit about my past. So I've been sober 15 years. I found out last February that my children were getting abused. I traveled 1,200 miles to come and get them out of their environment, which was right before coronavirus really kicked in. I got my kids March 6th. I went into a massive depression, lost every revenue stream that I had at the time, and have been living in an Airbnb in Arkansas since then, dealing with 3 children, 11, 8, and 3 that were abused. And what happened on this last year is magical. It's beyond magical. I went from a broken human being to somebody who started for the first time in their life at 41 years old, started picking up the pieces and rebuilding myself. And I've been doing the work and I've been going through the pain. I haven't been running from it. I've been finding my way to my truest self, which leads me to live a very spiritual life, a very connected life. I have my daily routines, my practices, my meditation, my writing, my gratitudes, and I've really rebuilt my whole life from the ground up. I am nowhere near the same person I was 13 months ago. I'm nowhere near the same person I was a week ago. It's a daily evolution, and I'm proud to be where I am today, and I'm proud of myself today, and I love myself today, and I'm very proud of the ones that I allow around me, the ones that are in my life. I honor them, I respect them, and that's really where I'm at. Now, if we want to go into the Misfits, that's
hold on, slow down, easy, Tiger. I got questions for you. I got lots and lots of questions. First of all, we're going to go back to the first statement you made. You said, I love being a misfit because it entails fully embracing yourself.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about what that means, which is, you know, do you have to be a misfit to embrace yourself? What does it mean to fully embrace yourself? Because for me, this idea of fully embracing yourself means embracing the warts and all. It means celebrating, maybe even more so, the weaknesses and the quirks and the flaws versus the chest beating of, you know, how great I am. As Alison Escalante would say, self-esteem is, look how great I am. Self-compassion is, I deserve to treat myself the way I treat others. So talk first about that idea.
Okay, so embracing myself fully is exactly what you said. It's looking at your flaws and embracing them even more than you embrace your qualities and your strengths, right? It's looking at your weaknesses, not as weaknesses, but the areas that you can work on and grow through. It creates relatability. It's being able to be so authentically, genuinely your truest self that in any circumstance, situation, environmental change, that you can adapt, overcome, and fully embrace where you're at, knowing that you have the confidence to overcome anything that comes your way.
Beautiful. See, now we can move on. Now, you spoke about this time in your life when you said I was essentially you were attracted to negative attention, that you were almost setting you it was easy to fail, or it was easy to move to a situation where you would fail, because that was ultimately all you knew, and you couldn't disappoint yourself or others be disappointed in you if ultimately you were consistent in under delivering. I mean, that sounds it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and you're not alone, Michael. There are so many people that are too afraid to try, are too afraid to take a risk, are too afraid what others might say if they fail, if they don't succeed. And then there are others who just have the confidence, the bravado, the arrogance to take on anything, and are successful because of that confidence. And I just wonder suddenly whether, in fact, the reason why these maybe average people are successful is because the extraordinary people are waiting on the sidelines, too afraid to raise their hand or jump into the ring. And if they did, we would find that there'd be more fairness and a level playing field.
For me, it was because of the abuse as a child, and because of always being told I was different, always being told that there was an issue with me, there was a problem with me, there was a negative connotation just around every description of me. It became just a natural feeling to just want to be seen that way. The easiest way not to have anyone to have high expectations of you is to always underachieve. So what I did was I just set the bar really low. You get straight D's and C's and some F's for a few quarters in a row or a few years in a row. Nobody really expects more, right? So at some point, yeah, you could test off the charts, but if they know that you're not going to do the work, and if they know that you're not going to try, and if they know this, then they don't really fight you on it anymore, right? They just kind of just let you be. And that goes back to, just how I handled life at that period of time. The confidence, the bravado, the I'm going to run in head first really came into play after I got sober. And that's when I really built that. And that's when I really started to grow that confidence, at least in my business skill set. My personal life, emotional life, emotionally, I've always been really broken. I was pretty much numb until last year. I didn't really deal with any of my emotional trauma until last year.
We're going to talk about the last year in a moment, but there are two more things. What you said was so rich. In fact, I want to go back to what you just said just now. I wonder whether special people, these incredible misfits, are mischaracterized as lazy, when the reality is they're almost self-sabotaging them. They're self-sabotaging. They are intentionally and purposefully not achieving or going for it because of this trauma, or because of this this fear of actually standing out and having the spotlight shone on them. And so I wonder if they are actually mischaracterized as lazy, when the reality is it's a lot more complex than that.
I think everything that we simplify is more complex. I mean, we try to put people into these categories, and we try to put them into these labels that are just ridiculous. First of all, the education system was designed for the Industrial Revolution. We're still teaching people how to memorize and somehow pretend to be productive in this world, right? First of all, we can't memorize better than a computer can, and the 1/1,000,000% that can, we hate them because they're too smart and can't communicate at an emotional level. So we label them something else. Labelism has destroyed our society in every way humanly possible. And to be even labeled a misfit is almost unfair, because as much as it is a fun pun and it brings it together of how we can be our unique selves and still fit in with the group of people that come from all different diversities and backgrounds, and it truly is a beautiful experience how we come together. The reality is even that label doesn't work, because it's taking away from our uniqueness, our gifts, our special, what makes us special, and our abilities, right? We all have these unique abilities to be able to tap into connectedness, spirituality, whatever it may be, and be able to elevate ourselves and others through daily interaction.
What do we do though if, you know, as you call it, labelism? So what do we call one another? How do we characterize each other if even, you know, if even the endearing or the self-deprecating or the warm labelism, you know, on any count actually has a, you know, disservice component to it?
I don't know. Your name's Joseph. What else should I call you? What? You're you. You're the only one of you. That's who you are. Why do you need a label? Why do you need to fit into any type of label? Black, white, pink, purple, race, religion, creed, sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're limiting humanity, and we're taking steps backwards because we're trying to make stuff that fits for everyone rather than create stuff that fits for everyone to excel, grow, and evolve. We're limiting our human capacity.
I mean, listen, I'll add one thing as well, which is when we think about even, you know, and this may be difficult for some people to come to terms with, but even pronouns.
Yeah. 100%.
Even pronouns are labels, and it's difficult for people to understand why someone might put he or him, you know, into their profile, when you would almost think, but wait a second, isn't the default that I am he or him? Why would I want to indicate that it's he or him? And it's a complete flip, right? That says, instead of isolating or elevating the exception to the norm, and by the way, that's a label as well, why not just have everyone, you know, kind of play on a level playing field?
Well, I mean, nothing's going to change in any regards until all these government documents, health insurance documents, corporate documents, job applications are blind, until they don't have indicators, right? Until the indicators aren't there anymore, until they get rid of all that and they just assign somebody who's interviewing just a number, and they don't look at a person, they don't judge them on their color or sexual orientation or anything else, or even just their gender, right? Like, there's a gender gap in pay, there's a race gap in pay, there's all these reasons to give gaps in pay. Well, at the end of the day, if it's a blind thing and you set this as the price that you're going to pay somebody, no matter who they are, what color they are, what race they are, what any of these things, what gender they are, they're all going to get paid the same. You know, the problems are simple to fix if we want to fix them. We just don't want to fix them.
So by the way, we have a comment from Twitch, which always makes me excited, because I just, you know, I love Twitch. So DJ Yanix, ask away your question, and I will put that on screen. Good afternoon from the UK, Jaffe Juice. I have a question for you, Michael, if I may. First of all, let me say, Jaffe Juice, you look splendid today. That already makes me nervous in terms of what's to come, whether it is legit or illegitimate. But you know, this is a viewer-driven show. It is live in the streaming era, and it is important to be raw and to be, you know, it is what it is. So while that question is coming in, you know, there were a couple of other things you said, Michael, and I was taking notes. One is, you said going through the pain versus you head into the pain, you faced it, you embraced it, versus running from it. That doesn't make you a masochist. It just means you recognize that you needed to move through it. It was a bridge, and it was a bridge you had to cross. There was no way around.
No, I mean, I spent my whole life running from it through escapism, whether it was drugs, alcohol, porn, strip club, sex addict, whatever you want to call it, right? Like I went through all of it. Any escapism I could, I did, even hiding in relationships, going from one to the next.
Well, there you go. There's your question.
I don't even know what I have no idea what that is. I'm not trying to be rude. I honestly don't know what that is. I form my own opinions based on my own self-education. The education system didn't work for me, so I've educated myself. If you email me a link or connect with me on LinkedIn and send it over to me, I'll read it and let you know what I think of it. I try not to, research is research for that reason. It's that person's opinion.
Well, I also think, in that particular case, maybe they can elaborate a little bit. But there's something that's really important, I think, in terms of being able to say, I don't have the answer. I'm not gonna bullshit my way, through and attempt to look smart or be smart or have an opinion. So, so we see Silver Fox Talks has made her way over to Twitch as well. So that's awesome. Twitch TV. Maybe I just need to make sure that we are exclusively on Twitch. The other thing, Michael, that you said that I thought was like amazing was you said, I'm different to how I was last year. I'm different to how I was last week. Now, how does that happen in terms of personal evolution and growth? I mean, you can say the words, I am changed today because of my conversation with you. I'm changed based on what happened to me. What does that mean when somebody actually says, I'm different to how I was last week? How can you grow that substantially?
Well, okay. So part of it is self-awareness, right? You have to be self-aware of your triggers, your indicators, things that you do in life, how you react to people, how you react to comments, how you interact with people. Once you become self-aware at that level, then you can start calculating your growth versus where you were, right? So the only way is to create an old standard versus a new standard versus a continuous growing, evolving standard. My self-growth and my growth and everything else that I'm going through is perpetual, and it's going to last until the day I die. Like, there's never going to be an ending to my learning, evolving, and growing as I am in this life. That's it. There's never a stopping point. Now, how do you give yourself credit for it, see the differences, and notice it? By having a trusted circle of people around you that call you on your bullshit. By having a trusted circle of people around you that say, wow, that's not what you would have said last week, or that's not how you would have reacted. Or I'm just self-aware enough at some point that I notice the difference, right? And it's not always easy, because there's days that I look around and I'm like, am I making any progress? But then the universe has a way of slapping me in the face and being like, yeah, you know what? I guess I have learned a lot, because if this would have happened a week ago, it would have been completely different.
No, and last week we actually had Julia McCoy, who spent her first 21 years in a cult, and she spoke about an accountability partner. And I think that's so important. The people you surround yourself with, are they people that lift you up or keep you down? Are they people that will hold you to account, and vice versa? And the self-awareness is one thing, but the people that call you their friends, or call themselves your friend, they're not going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. And so the accountability, I think, works both ways, right? We hold each other accountable. We rise together.
100%. And I keep looking down just because I'm fidgety. So that's how I deal with it. I play with my fingers at the same time. So, and I'm not double jointed or anything cool. So it's just really boring. It's okay. So I'm a very blunt, direct person. I will be the first to call somebody out on their bullshit right away. But then I ask for a return from people that I keep close to me. Don't allow me to wallow in it for more than a period of time. Don't allow me to get negative or depressed or sink into something. Give me space. Let me process it how I need to. right? But then in a moment, when that space is over, kick me in the ass, because we all need people. We need humans around us, right? We're not created to be these solitude figures, right? We're just not. We're human beings, and we have this herd mentality where we want people to be around us. But to do that, you have to allow people in. That's a big part of it, allowing people in. If you don't allow people in, then you're never going to get there.
Well, in this year of isolation, where you literally were not able to invite people in, you literally were isolated in an Airbnb, you know, being close to your kids. You did a bunch of amazing things. You know, you put together this series. This is a little clip of our interview called "You Are Never Alone," and that is segued into now connected human conversations. So as we go through these, talk a little bit about series, the "You're Never Alone," and now connected human conversations.
You Are Never Alone, first of all, was created so that nobody felt alone during the holiday season, right? With COVID, not being able to travel, people being quarantined. I never wanted anybody to sit home and feel that alone, right? I used to be in a crowded room and feel alone. I didn't want anybody feeling in a room alone and not have a place for an outlet. So what I decided to do was go live for, originally it was 10 out of 12 days during the holidays, the weekdays. I was going to go live for an hour a day and give people a refuge to go. Next thing I know, it turned into 15 out of 18 days. So once that series was over, then I started the KEW exchange, which is almost daily. Sometimes it overlaps your time slot, which is why I don't support you, and I'm sorry. But it's, you know.
You're forgiven, by the way.
Yes. So it's the knowledge, KEW exchange, where knowledge through experience transforms to wisdom. So we talk about topics that are taboo, topics that people normally won't discuss, topics that people usually aren't comfortable discussing. Then I have my personal YouTube, and I do all sorts of crazy stuff there. Sometimes I'm crying, sometimes I'm smiling, sometimes I'm laughing. The show that I do with Nancy, which is Connected Human Conversations, goes onto my personal YouTube, which is a link that you're showing. Connected Human Conversations, we're going deeper on a one-on-one basis with me and Nancy. Every once in a while, we'll bring a guest on, but we really want to stick to having us. And having these conversations at such a deep level as we personally go through our journey, so that it makes people more comfortable being willing to speak about these topics. You know, yesterday our topic, today's Monday, yesterday our topic was defining your own value. You know, and that's really important, right? You know, defining your own value it means nothing can hurt you. Nothing can, you know, nothing outside of you impact you. And we went really deep on that, because that's something up until the last few months, even the first 9 months of working on this, I still didn't have. I still didn't have a value. I still didn't have worthiness. It's really over the last couple months of doing the work, absorbing it, appreciating myself for what I've done, that now has in turn created my value. And my value is untouchable by anyone else.
It's also, you know, what I like about all these different series is you really are, there's like two weird things going on. I mean, like weirdly awesome things. One is you're having a conversation like we are right now, and you really are plugged into that conversation, the intimacy of it. You may as well be the two of you alone, as we felt, right, in a room or at a restaurant, but generally not a crowded one. And we're just having a conversation. We really are plugged into each other. Then at the same time, you're also sharing it with everyone, but you're not oversharing it. You're not doing it flamboyantly. You're not doing it. There's no like chest beating. It's more like, I'm focused on you. I'm focused on you right now, Michael, but I also realize that this conversation can help other people by opening it up. And you don't care whether one person is watching or 1,000 people are watching. It doesn't affect you or change you. And it's kind of it almost feels like you're a fly on the wall, and you're lucky enough to participate, not eavesdrop, but participate in these conversations. That's how I feel when I'm watching you in action.
The goal of all the shows that I do, right, whether it's Connected Human Conversations, whether it's the Misfits, whether it's the KEW Exchange, me and Jarvis Tucker are going to be launching our show soon. And then there's another one right behind it that's going to be launching also. The goal of these conversations is to share different perspectives with similar problems and similar issues that we occur through life, so that everyone feels relatable, right? And we hold safe space, right? Me and you on this show right now, we are holding space for each other. Energetically, emotionally, whatever it is, we are holding space for each other. And what we try to do with these shows is hold space for each other, but also hold space for people in the audience so that they feel safe to come there. And a lot of people reach directly out to us after these shows are over. And they ask us, how did you get here? What are you doing? What steps are you taking? Right? And it's this is not a small undertaking. This is a massive experience. Going through these life-changing events is enormous. And it really has an impact on you personally, and then a ripple effect on everyone in your life, right? Because when you go through this process and you start making these changes, there's dynamic shifts, there's paradigm shifts, there's I'm not reacting the same way I used to people. People don't always understand how to handle that.
It's the nuance, right, Michael? It's the nuance that doesn't just say good, bad, light, dark, happy, sad, COVID is awesome, COVID is terrible, shining lights, silver lights. It's the nuance that creates the incredible richness and diversity of the perspective. But you keep talking about Misfits, and I think we should, I alluded to our Zoom after show. I alluded to, MOM, Misfits of Michael. Let's talk about the island of Misfit Toys. Where is this island? Can I visit? Am I invited? Tell us about the series.
So I'm the connected consultant because I bring people together. It's one of my gifts to this world, my intuitive gift to bring people together based on intuitive reasons. I'm finally accepting that and appreciating it within myself, because normally I would never say that about myself. But I'm getting better with that, right? And I have this very large global network of connected spiritual people that have these unique spiritual gifts that are able to bring together or come together in a magical way that when sharing a screen, we have magical conversations. Sometimes they're very serious, but they're always lighthearted. We go into really deep topics together that embraces and holds space for each other, and we lift each other up live on these shows. We've had them last as long as 2.5 hours. They've been as short as an hour and a half. We can't keep it under an hour and a half.
Well, I think everybody's trying to work out who are these Misfits. So we are fortunate enough to have a few of them waiting in the sidelines. So let's bring on the Misfits.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Welcome to CoronaTV. Should we have you introduce yourselves? Who wants to go first?
Sure. I'll go since I'm up here. So I like to pride myself as being like the comic relief of the group. I think I was the one that actually said I feel like we're like a bunch of misfits on the island of misfits, because I myself feel like one all the time. So yeah, I'm the comic relief.
All right. So I like the fact that you're introducing yourself based on your role on the island.
I have a role. Yes, I feel like I have a role. Yes.
All right. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I'm Kelly. I started as the producer behind the scenes, and have gotten pulled out in front of the camera, out of my comfort zone. But it's great because we're all growing on the show, and kind of forced out of our comfort zone. So it's fun. It's a great experience. Such a safe group. So it's good.
All right, we've got the producer, we've got the comic, and last but not least, and these are just the Misfits that showed up. The others are, I don't know, fishing or looking.
There's something called a job, work. Unfortunately,
What is work? I don't know. What is a job? I haven't had a job since 2002, because no one will hire me. But that's another story. So, how do you pronounce your name? Is it DJ? Yeah.
DJ, hi.
Hi, DJ.
Yes, I'm a misfit, or I like to try to be one, always with this amazing group, having amazing conversations, and just bringing a little fun to LinkedIn, YouTube.
How do you guys know each other, and how did you guys come together?
The connector. Where is he?
You're all hold on. Wait.
I think you and I did meet aside from Michael. I will say that DJ and I met separately.
Yeah.
Through LinkedIn,
And
but
you
also
and Nancy
yes.
And you and Nancy have known each other forever.
Yes.
Bob says DJ is an aspiring misfit. So you mean you haven't? Does that mean that you haven't yet hit misfit status? You're misfit in training. You're MIT.
Yeah,
You know?
I think so.
You're getting your PhD from MIT, which is Misfits in Training. I heard, by the way, the other day, PhD stands for Poor, Hungry, and Determined. That's what you say to an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur will tell you when they go like, you know, what college degree do you have? Like, I have a PhD. Poor, Hungry, Determined.
That's it. That's
like
absolutely
that.
it. Yeah, I like that too.
Don't let DJ fool you. She's 100% misfit. She just
She's
doesn't.
in.
She's getting
totally
there.
in.
She's 100% in.
Yeah.
And the rest of us, I mean, we've all just come together, right? There's Reggie Waterman, Brian Shulman, Jairus,
The originals,
Jay,
Jarvis
Cap,
and Nancy and Jen.
yeah,
And Jen.
Mm-hmm.
Jen
and
Sahari.
Jen Sahari. I mean, you know, we've all just come together, and it's this beautiful experience. And the reality is, we all transform live on the show. We really do. Like at the moment, these are live transformations for each one of us. Like Karina too. We forgot about Karina. Sorry. How did we forget about Karina?
So,
You know,
Michael, live transformations on the show. I mean, that to the mere mortal, which is, you know, all of us except you, clearly. That sounds scary. Like Raquel, DJ, Kelly, is that scary for you? The fact that you're actually it's kind of like streaming therapy that you're going through this.
Me personally, no. Before all of this, I was already like putting myself out there. Like I was one of the people that I think I can say that I like being out. So, but I don't know. It's one of those things where you need people to inspire you, right? And to encourage you to do that. So for DJ, I was one of those people. And I love that because now she has her own live stream herself and she has her guests. And so that's the cool part of it is that you are bringing people at different stages of all of this, right? So that you're helping each other out like, hey, I'm a little further than you are. Let me help lift you up a little bit. And then I think that's the beauty of the transformation.
I just realized, by the way, that you guys are the new View. You're, you know, who needs the View when we have you,
right?
Just
don't ask us. Just don't ask us like who we relate to, because I don't know if I want to like say who I think which one I am.
It's okay. We will not, you know, we will not ask you which character because they probably all are playing characters too. Glenn, who's one of our regulars, says piled high and deeper is what he calls his PhD. And Adam says Michael's many misfits making magic. Such character and energy, love it. Very alliterative of you, Mr. Adam John, the man with two first names. They always say, by the way, never trust a person with two first names, but Adam John, I do trust.
Oh wow. That's good. Let me write that down.
Good to know.
I gotta take notes.
when they say, by the way, you know, they say the real question is who exactly is the they? Who is they? Is it a committee? Do they live on an island as well, and they just come up with sayings known as they? Are they the council? I don't know. You're bringing out the misfit in me. I'm loving it. I think what's so cool about this is that, you know, you guys have this. It is in part a support group, but in part as well, it is this incredible bond and connection. And I just wonder how many people have this right now, a regular check-in that they can do in a way that it's not work, but it's something else. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's missing, right, in society. I think society's really missing it. We're very fortunate that we all hate each other just a little bit less than we probably could, and we just are enough to put up with each other.
I was like, speak for yourself.
Right. I mean, you know, we have a group WhatsApp that goes around. We just message back and forth, and we're always, you know, sending inspirational messages to everybody else in there. And if one person's quiet for too long, then we check on them. Like, I mean, we're always just, you know, doing the best we can to be the best people we can, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that's really what we do. We're just, and this is how we go outward to the world, right? When we bring people in, you know, sometimes we add people into the Misfits over time. Felicia Miller-Johnson, she filled in for Raquel last week, and then Raquel showed up anyway. Like, I mean, just like
drunk a little bit.
You feel bad when you're not there.
A misfit, total misfit.
But you missed it though. Like, there's a part of this. This is something magical. It really is.
Yeah, you miss it. It is like you said.
Yeah, and her life's gone to hell in the last 2 weeks.
Thanks, Mike.
Wow.
You do though. It's like I think not enough people have this, and you know, I actually got chills when you said that. We need this. I think everyone needs a group that will check in with them and hold them accountable and encourage them to talk about the hard stuff, you know,
but also respect when they're not too, right? Because like out of all of them, well, I don't know, but I'm not a feely person. I don't like to talk about feelings. I don't like to get too heavy. I'm a very joyful, lighthearted, not saying that they're not, but like I like to kind of vibrate in that space. And so a lot of times it can get a kind of little bit like heavier for me. And but they know that, so they like respect that, and it's okay. And that's the beauty of it, is understanding that we all have different needs and we're in different places, and that's something that I personally appreciate. So, but I know that if I need to reach out and really talk deep and do, you know, I have a group of people to do that. But I also am kind of like, hey, I don't really need you guys all the time. Like, I'm kind of good. And no, once again, no disrespect. It's just I'm honoring myself.
Your commonality is uncommonality. I mean, it is the difference and the differences that ultimately make you all interesting to one another. But also the group itself takes on a different role, right? The whole is greater to the sum of its parts, that together you become this amazing and now branded mix. And I wonder if people are watching, there's a clear call to action, which is for you guys to consider doing this yourselves and starting your own group. And by the way, it doesn't have to be public. It can be private. You can use a piece of software like StreamYard, and you can publish to a private or an unlisted YouTube, or not at all. But there's also something that's cool about the way that we can do things like this, right? And we can play around with camera angles and you know, and be the rock stars that we know we are, because sometimes we can be our own worst critics. And the reality is that we are all just rock stars, aren't we?
I think I would like to take a little bit here to share. I know I come from a very insecure, vulnerable place. And for me to find comfort in this group and be able to grow, expand, develop, and share that with others and encourage others to do the same while I'm doing it is really empowering. And to have such a group of open and warm spirits to be able to do that with safely and create that space and then open it up to others. It really goes to show what our group is really about and how we are all about the heart and being available for others through their times of need. And we want to open our lines of communication and have others allow their misfitness to shine and share it, and we can accept it, and we can continue to encourage, like Raquel said, those that are behind us to keep moving forward and empower them as well as we share our own vulnerabilities.
There's room for everyone, right? Like that's the thing is like DJ, when I first met her was last August. We had our first call, and to see her growth and just to see where she's at, like I said, she has her own live stream now. She's the host. And it's just incredible to see that. Yay. And then Jairus, like he's also one that's really, we've seen him literally grow in front of the camera. And so I just love that. And then now Kelly, who was behind the camera, behind the scenes, now she's in front. We really cheer each other on. Like, And Jen too. Yeah.
Jen also.
Yeah. Like everybody, it's incredible to see. And we love it, right? Like we genuinely are so happy to see each other grow.
All right, so I'm going to tell people that if they would like to join this expanded circle of, by the way, there's nothing unfit about you misfits. Let me tell you, we misfits. I'm including myself today. We're going to all be hanging out with this wonderful crew. bit.ly/CoronaTV after show in our Zoom after show. But before we do that, I thought, you know what, instead of just asking Michael the Corona question of the week, let me ask it to all of you. And this is, it's a very simple one. How will you be remembered? So who wants to go first?
So how will we remember through COVID? Is that what it is?
No, when you leave this island called Earth, how will you be remembered? What will be your legacy? Why don't you go first, Raquel?
I think, and this is a quote that I absolutely love from Maya Angelou, where people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I truly feel that I'm one of those people that when you're around me, I have that energy that it makes you feel good and warm and fuzzy and really good about yourself and all of those things. And I pride myself in that. And I think that that's something that people will remember me by.
I love it. I love it. You made me feel warm today, and Raquel, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you for Zoom bombing us or stream bombing us today.
Yes, thank you.
All right, next. Who wants to go next? Kelly or DJ? You go, DJ.
Okay, I'll go. Wait, the legacy question. How do I want to be remembered? For me, it's all about empowering others, like I talked about a few minutes ago. It's really about being a guiding light, helping others through their disabilities, through their mental health. For me, that's the platform I like to stand on, to be one to share those stereotypes and stigmas and then break them. Get through that and have people see who people are for what they really are and their value, and stop stereotyping, judging, and stigmatizing others.
I love it. And DJ, we'll see you in a few minutes as well. Thank you for popping by.
Thank you.
All right. And then there were three. Kelly, how will you be remembered?
I love this question. I think one of the things that is really on my heart and has been for a while is helping people on their healing journeys. And that's my purpose. So hopefully that's how I'm remembered, is as a healer and someone who truly embodies unconditional love. So
wonderful. You've moved from the producer to the healer. That is your new role. Thank you for coming in.
I'm not quite ready to be out with that one.
All right, healer in training, HIT.
Let's call that.
All right, Michael, and it is just you and I left. But before we do that, here is the quote of the episode for you. Anything that causes you to change who you are just to fit in is not good for you. And that quote came from, I don't know if you've heard it before, but it comes actually from Tiffany Jackson, who wrote a book called 12 Keys to Success for Misfits, Weirdos, and Introverts. So, Michael, how will you be remembered?
I just have one very small goal in this world. When it's all said and done with me, on my tombstone, my legacy is to elevate humanity through knowledge and understanding. There is no wavering. There is no, well, what if I change my mind? That's what I'm here to do, and I'm going to do it. It's getting done. And it gets done every single day by every person I impact, every person I communicate with, and every person I reach out to. And that's what I'm here to do, and I'm going to do it. And I already am.
Isn't it great that basically when I asked you what do you want to talk about, you said helping others, changing global education, and changing global healthcare. Well, we got to one of them, and it was it was the important one. I really appreciate there is reciprocity of generosity of spirit. You know, I love the idea of being on someone's show and then them being on my show. It seems like the only fair thing to do. Let's head on over to the Zoom after show. And I think, you know, if you've watched the show, that the last word is always the judge, the jury, and the executioner is the one and only Chuck Norris.
You are Chuck Norris approved.
And you were approved. I mean, there's a shock. All right, let's go to the Zoom after show, and I will be back tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for watching Corona TV with your host, multiple author and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. Corona TV is the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing. The after show on Zoom starts right now at bit.ly/Corona TV After Show. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show at coronatv.show. And if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, text Corona TV to 66866 or visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.